Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this novel, we're discussing The Red Book. This is the second novel in the Billy Harney series. It's co-authored by James Patterson and David Ellis. I did make a video on the first book in this series called The Black Book. Check it out on my channel, and while you're there, why not subscribe? The reason I was so eager to read The Red Book is because The Black Book was such a good novel. I just found The Black Book so exciting and a really surprising book, to be honest, because you don't know with the co-author novels what to expect. Fortunately, The Black Book was so good, I had really high hopes for The Red Book. What did I think? Let's find out. So by the end of The Black Book, we found out Billy got his memory back. He remembered all of the events that led up to him being shot in the head, and also the deaths of his partner then on the police force, and also an attorney who was working with him. When he gives evidence in court, it leads to high-profile arrests of high-profile people in the police force. One of those people was his father. So that was the ending of Book 1. The start of Book 2, Billy's back after a few months off from the police force in recovery. He's still recovering from those injuries. Now he's back on the force and he's wondering what position he's going to have. He doesn't know yet, and he has to go and meet the superintendent to find out. He thinks he's going to be given kind of a low-rank job. They're going to try to push him out. That's what he's expecting. Surprisingly, he's given what he thinks is a bit of a bump up on the police force, a bit of a promotion in a way, and he's been given a position on a new crack team in the police force called SOS, and they're being created to combat high-profile crime, to solve the crimes that need to be solved really quickly. They've got a whole range of good officers from different precincts in the city. Billy thinks, it's a pretty good opportunity, but he's a bit wary what's going to happen. His new partner is called Carla. Early on, he's not sure about her. There's a few things going on with her that he's a bit suspicious about. She's popping pills. He's not sure what the pills are, but he witnesses it a few times. Also, she's a little bit cagey, just in her behaviour and her actions. And as a reader, we're not sure of her as well. And we're only really sure of her either side, is she good or bad, at the end. And that was really well done for this character in this plot. And it reminded me in the way that most of the characters in Book 1 were written. We weren't sure of most of them. And this time it's Carla we're not sure of. Unfortunately, in this plot, she's the only character really that's written that way. The rest of the characters on both sides, villains and heroes, are written in pretty concrete terms. So that was a bit of a letdown, a bit disappointing that for, that mystery side, that adding that suspicion and uncertainty about characters that made Book 1 such a good read really wasn't evident in Book 2, only for one character. Billy and Carla, the new partners, are given a high-profile case, very high-profile. It involves a drive-by shooting. There are 4 victims, one a 4-year-old girl. So of course it's high-profile because it happens in a certain area of the city where people are really wary of the police. They don't like them that much. And so straight away we've got threats of protests and riots happening because the people in this part of the city think the police don't protect them, don't care about them. So Billy and Carla are being tasked to solve the case quickly. Got to solve it. Let's stop these riots and protests from happening. Fortunately, they do solve it, and it dampens the threat of the riots and the protests. So that's a good thing. But then Billy starts to get doubts. Did they get the right man? And they don't even know if they did because the suspect gets shot and dies. So they're not even sure if they solved it correctly. Billy is the only one who seems to think there may be questions left unanswered. And he goes on this journey to start to investigate it on the sly. Doesn't want anybody else to find out because he's not sure about his partner yet. Can he trust her? What this does is lead him on quite a personal journey, and it may be linked to his wife's death. And in novel 1, we learn that his wife had died a few years ago, prior to the first novel, and people thought that she committed suicide, and he was certain of it. he can't remember too much about it. It's all very hazy, but people have told him that it was suicide. That's what the ME report said as well. So he assumes that was the truth. But is that really the truth? And what is he going to learn about the past that ties in with the current case? They're the key questions in this plot. And that was really well done. And there's a few twists in this novel. And that twist where he starts investigating, that's really key component of this novel. And there's some more twists later on that follow from that. So while I thought that was really good, the first 100 or so pages of the novel in the version I was reading, that was a bit slow, bit of a downer. I didn't really find that exciting or engaging. But when we start getting those twists and we start getting the investigation happening after they think they've solved the case, that's when this novel got exciting. That's when I got really engaged, and that made me hungry for book 3. And I hope I can get my hands on a book 3 very soon. When I do get my hands on book 3, I will be doing a review on it after I read it. So if you don't want to miss out on that, subscribe to my channel. Let's start with Billy Harney, because he's the main character of these novels and this series. Just like the first novel, he's a solid character, but he wasn't my favourite character of this book. He's good, but not as good as novel 1. He still comes across as a bit of a jerk sometimes. Not so much, but still does. I did like the way the character drove the second and third parts of this novel. That part where he starts to question the first closing of the case, that really got me excited, and I thought his character was better in those parts of the novel than the first part. So in some ways he was strong, but in some ways he was still a little bit weak. Carla, Billy's new partner. Carla is very interesting. It's a very complex character, a lot going on. Now, I mentioned before about the pill popping, and there's some other stuff going on with Carla as well. And we do learn that she was undercover in a previous role in the police force. And the undercover role involved being the girlfriend of some high-profile drug baron or drug kingpin or something. So Carla was a really complex, interesting character and very engaging, and probably the standout character in this novel for me. And I won't give away whether she will appear in future novels, because I don't know. I do know what happens at the end with Carla, but I'm not going to tell you that. Patty, Billy's twin sister. So we have to mention Patty just because of that reason, if not for anything else. Unlike the first novel where she played a big role, and probably such a big role because we weren't sure about whether we could trust her or not. In this novel, we know we can trust her, but she's also a bit in the background. We don't get many scenes with Patty, so that's a bit disappointing because Patty was a really big character in novel 1 and my favourite character in that novel. In this novel, she gets down from top billing. Carla is the main character for me. Patty just goes into the background a bit, and I found that disappointing. I really hope that Patty really gets a lift in novel 3 and we see more of her. When I finished this novel, I had a really good feeling about book 3. I want to get my hands on book 3, and that's all because this book was solid for most of the part, especially in the last 2/3 of the novel. The first part of this novel wasn't as good, and again, that Billy character, he's the main character in the series, but he's just not the best main character in a series that I've read, and he's not my favourite character in either book in this series that I've read so far. But having said that, I still rate this a 4 out of 5, and it was the twists in this book, the twists and turns, and Carla's character, they're the key reasons for that rating, and just also how, even though Billy's character's not the strongest for me, how his character drove the rest of the plot in the last 2/3 of the novel. Those are really key things for me in this novel, and the main reasons why I give it a 4 out of 5. I will review more James Patterson novels on my channel in the future. If you don't want to miss out on those, why not subscribe and keep a lookout for those videos.